everybody, WonkyPuppy here, bringing you a very special review video for Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. And really this applies to Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu as well, because the games are pretty much the same except for a few changes to which Pokemon you can get, things like that. So what I thought I'd do for this review video is, there's the fundamental question, should I buy this game, right? And what I wanted to do is I wanted to highlight some of the best things about this game and some of the things that I'm not so sure about with this game, and then kind of give you my recommendation of who I think should buy this game and who may not. Let's start out with what I like best about the game. First is the level of engagement with your partner Pokemon. The dynamic between Eevee and Pikachu and you as the main trainer, it's just so engaging. It's so much fun. It's cute, it's fun, it's personalized. It's just a really great experience. If you're not familiar with it, your Pikachu or your Eevee rides outside of the Pokeball with you on either on your shoulder if you're the Pikachu trainer, or on your head if you're an Eevee trainer, and they're just with you all the time. You can go into a play menu with them at any time, feed them berries, pet them, groom them, personalize them. You can change their costumes. You can have matching costumes, or you can give them goofy little glasses like I do. There's just so many like fun things that you can do with your partner Pokemon, and that just makes it so much fun, and it really gives you that sense of having bonded with your Pokemon, and like they're almost like a pet, like a partner, not necessarily like, you know, a battle drone, kind of like they were with the Pokemon Yellow original games. The next thing which I really enjoyed was permanent TMs. So when you get a TM in the game, it goes into your TM case, and you can use it any amount of times that you want to use it, which was great. That was not the way it was in the original Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow games. I know that feature isn't unique to this new game, but it is new to, I guess, the Kanto region and this generation of games. And it really makes it a lot better, because the dynamic in the original games was you got these TMs and they were ultra rare and you never wanted to use them. You always wanted to save them until your last go, until you went to the Elite Four and you were building your final like Pokemon Master team, and you were using all of your best moves on all of your best Pokemon, and you were just stacking them like crazy, right? Now you don't have to worry about that anymore. You can use the TMs whenever you want. You can replace moves whenever you want. It's just a lot more fun. The next one is the elimination of HM moves. So those were things that allowed you to interact with the environment in the original games, like cut to cut down trees, surf to surf on water, fly to fly between towns. Those are all things that you had to have in order to complete the game, in order to move around in the environment. But they were often not the best moves. So what ended up happening was people created one just weakling on their team that they just stacked all the HM moves onto. And nobody liked doing it. It almost felt disrespectful, like you were wasting one of your Pokemon. But everybody did it because you had to, because you didn't want your star Pokemon to be saddled with these lame moves, and you needed the moves anyway, so you just had to do it anyway. It was never a great thing, and now the way that it works in Let's Go is your partner, either Eevee or Pikachu, learns all the special techniques. That doesn't take up anything on their moveset. It's just something that they can do in addition to their normal like battle movesets. None of those things are things you can use in battle. It's just things to move around the environment, and it is really cool. It is really cute. As well, that they get all of those special things. I won't go into too much detail into what they are, but they are all kind of slightly reinvented, and they're really cute. And a lot of the HM moves, like if you did want them, like Fly, was generally a pretty good move in the other games. That's turned into a TM now. So I know Surf, Fly, and Waterfall are definitely TMs. I don't know about the other ones. I'm sure they are. But if you still want those moves and you want to be able to use them in battle, they are TMs out in the world now that you can get and you can use. The next thing, which I really do like, is that wild Pokemon now spawn on the overworld. So they still spawn from grass, but they just pop up on the overworld like little Pokemon. And so you can choose to avoid them, or you can choose to run into them to engage them in battle, but it takes away that random encounter mechanic from the game, where when you're walking through a certain zone where Pokemon can be found, you may or may not hit them based on the tile that you're on in the game. That whole dynamic is gone, right? So now you're just walking around the world and things spawn on the world and you run into them in order to go battle them. And I really like that mechanic a lot more. You can be a lot more choosy about who you go into an encounter with, which is great if you're trying to stack up a catch combo or try to lure out a shiny of a certain type. It makes it a lot more fun. And it also, if you just don't want to battle things, you can just avoid them. They can still spawn, you can walk around them, you can just ignore them. So that's a lot more fun. It's a lot easier to move around, for sure. And kind of on that note, another change is that the trainers throughout the map, they're a lot more avoidable than they were in the old games. They used to be in the old games, in order to get to the next place or navigate a route, you had to like walk into the line of sight of a trainer and you had to battle them in order to move forward. They were kind of barriers, and that still exists in the new game, in this Pokemon Let's Go game, but to a much lesser extent. Most of the trainers that I've seen in the environment, they move around. You can avoid their gaze if you want to. If you're weak and you want to get to a Pokemon Center, or you just don't feel like battling, or you don't have the right movesets, or like whatever, you can choose to avoid the majority of those and come back and battle them later if you want, or just never battle them at all. Like you get that choice, which is a lot nicer, especially with like some roads, like the one road south of Lavender Town to Fuchsia City, where there's like a bajillion trainers. That really comes in handy, so you can kind of do that in batches if you want to. The next thing to note is the animation and the 3D artwork in this game is just really good. It's just extremely well made. It's really cute. It's really colorful. Just the animations are just really vibrant and fun and silly, and it just draws you in, and it's just really fun. I really like that about it. The Pokeball Plus controller is also something that I'm going to put in the pro column for this thing, because it is a really fun experience to actually have a Pokeball and throw it and then catch your Pokemon, and it's just really cool. I like that a lot. It hits you in all the feels, all the nostalgia feels, which is really, I'm assuming, what they were going for with that. And the last thing I think is a plus is the automated experience share. So it used to be in the original games, like you would grind and grind and grind and grind, and you would eventually get an experience share, and then everybody in your party could get a little bit of experience, and then it made your grinding a little bit easier, because you just have your tank out front and then leveling up all your people in the back. But now that's kind of done, right? Because everybody gets experience for everything every time anyway. Like everybody shares the experience in your party, so it does make leveling a lot easier and a lot smoother, and it's a lot easier to keep your Pokemon, about the same level as you go. Okay, so that's what I love about the game. Now let's talk about the things that I'm a little bit conflicted about. The first one was kind of the removal of the Safari Zone dynamic. So I know that they brought in the Go Parks, and the Go Parks are cool, and I do like the way that it integrates with Pokemon Go there. But I'm not convinced that taking the Safari Zone out was needed. I really liked the Safari Zone in the original ones, and I would have liked to have seen that in this one too. I think there was room for both in the game. The next thing, which I don't necessarily love, is the removal of wild Pokemon battles. So the way that the catching mechanic works is when you encounter a wild Pokemon, it's essentially the same way as when you catch Pokemon in Pokemon Go. You can give them berries to make them easier to catch, and then you just throw balls at them until you catch them. It's the same like dual ring dynamic, where there's a white ring and a colored ring, and you have to try to get it into the colored ring. And then there's the difficulties in catching based on the level and the stats of the Pokemon and the ball you're using and all that. I miss battling wild Pokemon though. The Go catching mechanic is fun. It's just not the same. I think I prefer to the mechanic of battling wild Pokemon. So I do miss that a little bit. The next thing that I know it wasn't original to the Pokemon Yellow games, but it was introduced in Fire Red and Leaf Green and now taken back away in Let's Go, is being able to use held items for your party. So held items were things that you could have your Pokemon hold on to, and they could give you perks during battle. So you could have them hold a consumable like a berry, and if they got into trouble, they could eat the berry, and then it wouldn't use one of your turns, but it would do the thing that the berry did. Like it would remove confusion or sleep or heal them a little bit or whatever, and it would not use your turn. So there's that, and then there was power-up things. There were held items that you could give a Pokemon that enhanced something about that Pokemon, either their defense or their special attack, or powered up fire type moves if you're a fire type Pokemon, you know, things like that, right? And yeah, there's none of that. That's all gone. There's no held items in this game at all. I kind of like the held items. I think that they introduced a really interesting dynamic, especially if there were like rare ones or like different stacked ones. And I think that's one of the things that could give you an edge if you're going in for like co-op interactive battles. It just feels like you lose a little bit of a dimension in being able to tailor the strength of your Pokemon without having that held item mechanic. So I miss it. I wish it was back, but it's not. The next one is actually about the Pokeball Plus controller again. If you're gonna be hardcore into this and like experiencing and leveling up your Pokemon as much as you can, you really should have the Pokeball Plus controller. It feels a little bit unfair. It feels like in order to experience the full game and be able to really like hardcore level up your Pokemon, you have to have that Pokeball Plus controller. And there's a little bit of a paywall in between that and you being able to do it, and it just feels a little icky. I get that the position of Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, they are trying to create an accessory that provides enough incremental value to justify the cost and get people to buy it, without creating this pay-to-win mechanic, right? And I think they may have just gone a little bit too far down the pay-to-win path. With this like rapid experience capability with the Pokeball Plus controller. I mean, they probably should nerf it in the future with a software release. That's my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people would be upset if they did that. But it just feels a little stacked towards the Pokeball Plus players at this point. And the last thing, I had this in the pro column as well, but I'm gonna put it in the con column also, is the automated experience share. I totally get why they did it. It definitely made leveling a lot smoother, and it is nice for casual play, but it takes away from hardcore play, in my opinion. Part of that original Pokemon experience was grinding, right? Grinding to level up, grinding to train your Pokemon, and like putting in the work and the repetitive grinding, right? There's no grinding mechanic in this game anymore, other than catching Pokemon, which is really limited by the amount of Pokeballs and money you have. It's just missing something. It's hard to say. Like that was part of the original Pokemon nostalgia for me, is just spending hours and hours just battling wild Pokemon to get my levels up, to be able to do the one thing that I wanted to do, and it almost felt like work. It felt like an accomplishment whenever you got it done. All right, so that's a little bit of the good, a little bit of the bad of how I feel about the Pokemon Let's Go gameplay. So the final question is, should you buy it? And here's my recommendation. If you are a casual Pokemon Go player, if you're a casual Pokemon player, if you're like me and you grew up with the red, the blue, the yellow games, and you really love them, but you kind of fell out of practice and you're feeling really nostalgic about it, buy the game. You'll definitely love it. You'll definitely have a lot of fun. It's a really immersive, fun experience. If you're a really hardcore player and you've played all of the different Pokemon, you know everything about all the Pokemon, this is probably not the game for you. You'll probably just be disappointed by this game. This is much more geared towards the casual player who's not putting in hundreds of hours into the game. There's just not enough content. There's not enough meat to it to make hardcore gamers happy, I think. So that's my recommendation. I hope that you found this video helpful. Leave a like below if you did. Comment down below with any other opinions that you have about what's good or what's bad about this game, or if you agree or disagree with my opinions on this. Don't forget to subscribe to show your support for the channel. Join our Discord if you would like to connect with the community. And until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!